Okay, so in Revelation, there's 2 beasts.
Yes, sir, there is.
Okay, so first beast, number 1.
Okay.
Question, what is it?
All right. So in Revelation 13, it lists 2 different beasts. Okay. So the first one, it says, is a beast that's coming up out of the sea. So it's described as having 10 horns and 7 heads. And on its horns were 10 crowns.
That's Leviathan.
And on its heads were blasphemous names.
What?
Right. All right. So let me just keep reading. All right. The beast I saw was like a leopard. Okay.
Okay.
Its feet were like a bear's, and its mouth was like a lion's mouth. Okay, you got the image?
Which mouth? Which of the 7 mouths?
It just says it
has 7 heads.
It has 7 heads.
So which mouth?
I don't know. It's primary. It's primary head.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Conjecture.
Lions, right. The dragon, and then we got the dragon coming back into play here.
Oh, God.
So you'll love this.
Okay.
All right. So here's the dragon gave the beast his power, his throne, and great authority.
Over what?
It's over. All right. Well, let me keep reading. Okay. All right. Because it's going to answer that question for you.
Okay.
One of its heads appeared to be fatally wounded. Okay. But its fatal wound was healed. All right.
What? What?
Yeah. All right. We're going to break all this down in just a second. All right.
I saw this dead thing, but it was alive.
Right. Well, it was healed.
It was a zombie.
It was healed. All right. Anyway. All right. So the whole earth was amazed and followed the beast. They worshiped the dragon because he gave authority to the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, "Who is like the beast? Who is able to wage war against it?" The beast was given a mouth to utter boast and blasphemies. It was allowed to exercise authority for 42 months. Okay, so 3.5 years.
Okay.
It began to speak blasphemies against God,
Mm-hmm.
to blaspheme his name and his dwelling and those who dwell in heaven. It was permitted to wage war against the saints and to conquer them. It was also given authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation. And all those who live on the earth will worship it, everyone whose name was not written from the foundation of the world in the book of life of the Lamb who was slaughtered. If anyone has ears to hear, let him listen. Okay. And so
maybe God knew that we were going to have AI at some point and had to make something that looked crazier than what we can see and do with that. So that we knew it was horrible.
Right. So are you equating AI in this?
Yes.
So AI is the Antichrist.
Not on a moral level, but on a output level.
Right.
Because
All right. So here's the deal. So this beast is referred to as the Antichrist.
Okay.
Okay. And so the dragon there, remember, is the devil, Satan. That was established in previous episode.
Oh, we did that. All
right.
Okay.
And so
that dragon's back.
Dragon's right.
Okay.
And so this dragon, Satan.
It's a good thing we did that one first.
Right. Satan gives power, okay, to the Antichrist, to the beast. And so he is now leading, it seems, he's leading the whole earth. Okay?
This crazy looking half dead.
Right. Well, I mean,
beast.
Right. And so, all right, we're going to go into a chapter here in Daniel 7, which may bring some more insight onto this beast here.
But also probably more questions than insight.
I mean, that's kind of the way these things roll.
Okay.
You know, all right.
Okay.
All right.
And this is just one of the 2 beasts.
Right.
Oh, good. Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. So remember, there's a beast appeared, right?
Okay.
All right. It was like a leopard. Okay. Same thing as the other one. Okay. Right. So I'm in Daniel 7 for this one.
Why is Daniel talking about this?
Because, all right. So Daniel is in the book of Daniel. So Daniel's a prophet, right?
Sure.
He's in the prophetic literature, Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
But most people look at his a lot of Daniel, not all of it, but a lot of Daniel is apocalyptic in its literature genre.
Okay.
And so it's looking at end times kind of things.
Okay.
All right. So let me kind of read this section. It's kind of an interesting one, and we'll see where we go from here. All right.
Okay.
All right. And so while I was considering the horns, suddenly another horn, a little one, came up among them, and 3 of the first horns were uprooted before it. And suddenly in this horn there were eyes like the eyes of a human, and a mouth that was speaking arrogantly. And so the reason I wanted to mention this with the horns, I know you're like, oh my God,
this is so dumb. It's just random.
It's okay. It's not random though. It's anytime again we're looking at the future, right? It's a weird picture. Okay.
Future's gonna be crazy.
Future's gonna be crazy, right? And so what it's kind of referring to here is that it seems like the beast with the horns and like they actually may be representative of different empires and nations collaboratively coming together,
okay,
and being under the head or under the leadership of this one beast. Okay, so like the idea of the 10 horns, the 7 heads, 10 crowns, and all the horns. It's like this idea of all of these rulers from all of these nations have like come together, and now there's like one global empire. Okay. With and this global empire in regards to, the economy and business and just political governance is this one massive empire that this Antichrist is ruling. Okay, reigning from. And so that's this first beast.
Okay.
Antichrist given power.
Okay.
By Satan.
So the first beast is the Antichrist.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's what he looks like.
Well, no. I mean,
what? That's all you've talked about.
I'm not saying it's literal 10 horns and literal 7 heads. Okay. And so this is the apocalyptic part, right? Like we're having to read this and go,
is it even a beast?
It's a
Are we even talking right now? It's a simulation. What are we doing?
Right. This has got to be AI.
Yeah. This is the worthy AI.
Right. Are we in the entity?
Joseph.
All right. So, all right.
Joseph got to go to the movies.
I did. It was awesome.
Okay. Yeah.
It was awesome.
All
right. So.
Okay. So none of this is real. Who cares? Next one.
Anyway. All right. Yes. Moving on. All right. No, it's real in the sense that there's going to be an Antichrist. These things will happen. But does it look like all of this? No.
This is just a crazy thing that Daniel saw, and that whoever
Revelation and John in Revelation.
Which John? Was it 1 John, 2 John, or 3 John?
The John who wrote all 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Johns.
Okay.
Along with the Gospel of John. The John that was with Jesus. How about that?
Oh.
John, the brother of James, who was with Jesus.
All right. So this thing's weird and
so
it's not real.
Okay. So we've got the Antichrist. All right.
Okay.
That's the beast of the sea.
So why put this in the Bible if this is fake?
But it's not okay. All right, it's not that it's fake.
Okay.
All right? It's the fact that they're using imagery to describe.
Okay.
And yes, it's poetic type language and imagery, right? It's not, it's not like it's trying to paint a picture of what, how bad this is going to be. Okay? That there's going to be an Antichrist, and this beast, if you were, is going to be, blaspheming against God.
So it might not be horns. It'll be like other demon guys that rule over different parts of stuff.
And the idea of the horns and the crowns and all the heads, it's all that idea of that this beast encompasses all of this in himself. So in other words, he's overseeing, ruling over all of these areas.
So a beast in not literal beast form, but in like destructive and authoritative power.
Correct. There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
So this thing's not real.
There we go.
I get it, but it's still not a thing.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I understand. And so does everyone in the audience. Cool.
All right.
All right. Beast number 2.
All right. Well, all right.
Okay. Sorry.
Well, before we get to beast 2, before we get to beast 2, let me just share real quick about the first beast. Okay. In 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3, don't let anyone deceive you in any way, for that day will not come until, talk about the day of the Lord, until the apostasy comes first and the man of lawlessness is revealed.
Apostasy?
Apostasy.
What?
Apostasy is believers falling away.
Oh.
Yeah. So throughout end time literature, or you know, what we see is that there's going to be this time where believers begin to fall away in the end times. Okay. Yeah, leading up into the end times. Okay. And so the apostasy comes first. Man of lawlessness is revealed, the man doomed to destruction. He opposes and exalts himself above every so-called God or object of worship, so that he sits in God's temple, proclaiming that he himself is God.
Okay.
So this is the same one that's being referred to. Okay.
Man, Revelation used to be cooler when none of this was fake.
Well, I mean, but you know, if you're expecting to see a literal dragon and a literal beast looking like all this, then yeah, you're gonna be disappointed.
Yeah,
because that's what you were hoping for.
End times are gonna be boring, you know. They try to make it cool, but it's not.
Well, no,
great.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a great and terrible day of the Lord. Great for some, terrible for others.
Okay.
All right. So, and that's kind of the, and this is the idea that this individual, this lawless one, okay,
the Antichrist,
okay, all right, is present and is there and is really like this idea, and I say Antichrist, it's like this idea of a fake Christ, right?
Okay,
one who's proclaiming to be Christ, if you were, but is actually not. All right,
so he's going to actually like try to act like Jesus.
Well, rule
with
authority as if he is a God.
And we're supposed to have read Revelation and know that he's the wrong one because he came before Jesus got here.
Right. And so, and also,
and this is the only way that we're supposed to know.
And remembering that he is going to be given the authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation, and the authority to conquer, to kill those that are following Christ. Because what will happen is he will set himself up as a God, right, to be worshipped. And those who do not worship him will be killed by him.
Okay.
As Christians, we will not worship.
Does it say anything about him being orange?
No.
Okay.
No. I see where you're going with this, but no.
Okay.
Right. I'm scared too. All right. All right.
Whew. All right, good. It definitely would have said that if this was that.
What color are leopards?
Okay, so the second beast of Revelation. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
All right. So
are we on to the next one? Are we done with that one?
Look, we need to be done with that one.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. before we start getting into conspiracy theories.
Okay.
Okay. All right. There's a beast from the sea, Antichrist. Now there's a beast from the earth.
Okay.
Okay. False prophet.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay. Verse 11 of Revelation 13. Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth. It had 2 horns like a lamb.
Wait, this is right after the other one.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The first beast, and then we're rolling right into second beast.
Right into second beast. All right.
In Revelation.
In Revelation.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, sorry.
So second beast. So beast coming up out of the earth has 2 horns like a lamb, but it spoke like a dragon. It exercises all the authority.
Okay.
I know.
You said the dragon didn't talk. And also the dragon wasn't real, and that the first beast wasn't real, and now that we're...
I never said, well, okay. I did say it's not a literal dragon and not a literal beast.
But now we're comparing this fake thing to something that we should know is real that also talks.
No, okay. Hey, hang on with me. Just let me keep going, right?
Okay.
All right.
I'll try to be quiet till the end. But it's not going to happen.
I know. But it spoke like a dragon. It exercises all the authority of the first beast on its behalf, okay? And compels the earth and those who live on it to worship the first beast, whose fatal wound was healed. Okay? So if there's a world leader that's starting to rule like everything, and they are fatally wounded but are healed, we're looking at possibly the Antichrist.
Okay.
Right. He wasn't fatally wounded though.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Right. Okay, just wounded.
Okay.
It's close.
Okay.
All right. Verse 13.
I'm not talking.
I know, but I'm reading your mind. All right. Which is more horrifying than...
Okay.
All right, anyway, verse 13. It also performs great signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to earth in front of people. So dude's calling down fire.
Okay.
It deceives those who live on the earth because of the signs... It deceives those who live on the earth because of the signs that it is permitted to perform in the presence of the beast, telling those who live on the earth to make an image of the beast who was wounded by the sword and yet lived. It was permitted to give breath to the image of the beast so that the image of the beast could both speak and cause whoever would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. And it makes everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on his right hand or on his forehead, so that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark, the beast's name, or the number of its name. Okay?
So, Social Security.
No.
Okay.
No. All right. So this calls for wisdom. Let the one who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, because it is the number of a person. Its number is 666. That's where we get that.
That's the second beast?
That's well, yes. Okay. Yes. It's
okay.
When you say the second, so
the second beast's number is 666.
No, that's the first beast's number.
The first beast's
number is 666. Because remember, the second beast is just doing everything to point to the first beast.
Okay.
All the second beast signs and wonders are pointing
to
the first beast. Or if we can distinguish it, all that the false prophet is doing is pointing toward the Antichrist.
Where's 666 from then?
What do you mean?
Why is that the number?
That's just the number that it's given. And often people think it's because it's speaking purely of just humanity, right? Like where 7 is like the divine number of God, 6 is the number of man.
Oh.
Yeah, and so that it's speaking, that's why it talks about it's the number of a person. So it's the number
Satan,
of humanity.
First beast, second beast, 1 6 for each of them?
Yeah. There you go.
I can understand how conspiracy people read this stuff and just go off
100%.
because this is nonsense.
Yeah. Well, and it's been used for conspiracy stuff throughout, for
Forever.
2,000 years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like anytime there's a horrible individual that seems to be, bringing all power to himself, right?
Right.
Like in some, have you ever seen like the charts and stuff at the end times? I don't know if you've ever seen any of those kind of charts that are made.
They're all different.
Yeah, right. They're all different, but there is this. But for a long time, okay,
I don't pay attention.
From the mid 20th century to let's say the 80s, for 30 years or so, and like a lot of these charts, what will happen is there's all these charts and it's all about the Antichrist. Well, the Antichrist will have a picture of Hitler there.
Oh,
yeah, and they'll say, well, he was the Antichrist,
but he couldn't have been because we're not
right
dead yet. Or
correct.
Whatever.
Correct. And he never had authority over all the earth either, right?
Right.
And so that's the thing. It's like whoever this Antichrist is will end up, all authority will be given to him. Will
have to be worse than Hitler.
And yes.
Okay.
But will probably be perceived as someone, I mean, obviously if people are worshiping him, thinking he's great, he must be God's chosen person because he was fatally wounded and he got healed and, that kind of stuff. And so it seems like this figure is going to be a figure where people are obviously drawn to him.
So these two beasts of Revelation are supposed to help us figure out who this guy is.
Yeah, by the descriptions of them.
By the descriptions of them.
And as a warning to us that, hey, this is coming. This is going to happen. And that's why it says at the end, I'm talking about the first beast, it says, this calls for endurance and faithfulness from the saints. In other words, you're going to, there's going to be the threat of death, right? There's going to be the threat
because of being a Christian.
Because of being a Christian. And also so that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark, the beast's name, or the number of its name. In other words, you won't even be able to buy food. Participate in just basic commerce.
Okay.
And no, it's not going to be somewhat conspiracy theories, like the idea of I don't know if you've heard this one, but don't get a vaccine because they're going to put the chip in the vaccine and that's going to be the mark of the beast. And the next thing you know, you have the mark of the beast in you and you didn't even know you had the mark of the beast.
That's why I said social security numbers, because they said that same thing back when those came out.
And it's and the reality is, it's no, you're going to know. It's not oops, I got the mark of the beast and didn't know it. Okay. You're going to know.
The mark? What's the mark look like?
I don't know.
Okay.
But it's going to be whatever it is, whatever the it's talks about a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, but whatever this mark is, this identifying thing, that's going to be the way in which we're able to buy and sell, right? And without it, we won't be able to. And so for Christians, it is a warning that these things are going to occur. These things are going to happen. And when they do happen, we don't need to be freaking out or going, oh my gosh, didn't see this coming. No, we were told this is coming.
Okay.
And so now it's a matter of just being faithful in that, even if that means that we have to be martyred.
Oh.
And I don't throw that around lightly. You're right. I mean, it's easy for me to sit up here and talk about, in theory, being martyred, because there's reality. There's people in our world today who are being martyred for their faith, and they might think this stuff is actually happening,
okay, where
they are. And so for them, this is, and for future Christians, this will actually be a source of encouragement and comfort of, we knew this was going to happen. It has come to this. We will not take the mark of the beast, and we will die if we have to.
So why is it all metaphorical and
right, and not just laid out,
stupid, and not just straight up, so that these Christians aren't wondering if this is actually the real thing or not?
Yeah, and I think if Christians were to take a step back, right, and I know this is a hard thing for Christians to do sometimes, But if we could take a step back and like look logically at this, like all the things that have to occur to lead us to this point, right?
Oh,
and
are flat laid out.
Yeah,
in Revelation.
In Revelation, in Matthew 24 and 25, like there's in 2 Thessalonians, like there's plenty of passages that speak to the end times, what's going on in the end times, and what are going to be the signs leading up to that end times. Okay. And then when we're there to understand that and I get it, we're moving closer and closer to that point, right? We have more of a global economy than we've ever had. We have more, so like there are those kind of signs, right? I think the question is going to be for us: can we discern when there are going to be those, number one, that are claiming to be Christ that are not, claiming to be messiahs, claiming to be saviors that are not? Can we discern that? And then number two,
I don't feel like anyone could get away with that right now.
Yeah, it would not now, right?
Right.
But it's going to take this kind of like signs and wonders kind of stuff happening from them, right?
Yeah.
Because they're going to be granted signs and wonders,
There'd have to be some crazy signs and wonders.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, dude could call fire down from heaven.
Because we're so desensitized to anything.
Sure. But like if you're just walking around and this dude's just like calling fire down from heaven, you're going to be like,
okay,
yep, I buy that. Like, that's different. Okay. And
yeah, but everyone who saw it be online be like, that's bullshit.
Well, it talks
whatever.
It talks about performing great signs, all that kind of stuff. So, and they're going to deceive those who live on the earth, because of the signs that it's permitted to perform in the presence of the beast. And so, and it's going to even have an image of the beast, and the image of the beast can speak. That's kind of crazy.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So, there's a lot of stuff that's going on here that I think will be very real to people, and you'll go, oh, that's what John was talking about.
Okay.
This is what's happening. Now, to be clear, there are some Christians that do not take Revelation as something that is going to happen in the future.
Okay.
They will take it as something that has already happened with the fall of the temple and the fall of Jerusalem in 1st century AD. Okay? So in 70 AD, when the temple fell, Jerusalem fell, they will connect this to that.
Who made them fall?
The Romans.
Oh.
Yeah.
When the Romans took over.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When they destroyed Jerusalem, destroyed the temple.
Why'd they do that?
Because it was just for them, it was like, yeah, we're done with the Jews.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, the Jews have had it rough.
They have.
Yeah.
For a long time. Yeah. And so, yeah, I think in a lot of ways the Jews were scapegoated in that event, but yeah, it's just anyway.
By the
emperor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so, but it just, it's a reality. So some people will look at it as like history has already happened. Okay.
Okay.
But there's so much that is speaking about here that goes, for me, like when you hit Revelation 21 and 22 and it's talking about the new creation, and the new heavens and the new earth, man, like we haven't seen anything like that.
So was any of that real?
See, and that's the thing, like for me, that's real stuff, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever. New creation's going to have 85 heads and 42 horns.
No, but it will not have a sun, because we will not need a sun, because Christ is there.
Because God's hot enough?
Yeah, he's got enough light.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he'll just be in the sky, a giant face.
No.
Are we going to spin around his... Never mind. I don't.
What? I don't know where you're going with this. No, let's stop.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go, my man.
So not real beasts. All metaphors for end times stuff.
Yes, but
that we have to figure out.
These events, things like this, are going to happen. Yes.